Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dr. Larry Live Weekly. Again, we are joined by Lindsay Sudeikis. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dr. Larry. Good to be back.
It's good to be back. You are back. Today we're going to talk about the Gillette masculinity commercial. If you haven't seen it, we're going to watch it right here. I know I've seen it. I want to talk about it. Lindsay hasn't seen it, so we're going to do her reaction live right now. True, you have not seen this commercial.
I have not, which it's unlike me because I'm on the pulse of these things. But yeah, good.
This will be good for you. We're going to start that over. Okay, here we go.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it. It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off. Making the same old excuses. But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Smile, sweetie. Come on. To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Not cool.
Some already are. In ways big and small.
I am strong.
But some is not enough.
Someone treat each other, okay?
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
Hmm.
1 minute, 45 seconds. What do you think?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is, this Latin phrase, estovir, which is Latin for be a man. And the word vir comes from, that's the same root for the word virtue, and to be virtuous.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and be a man in a universal way, not like just men being men, but so to be a man is equal with being virtuous and being that they would be used interchangeably. And so this seems to me that there's a invitation for folks to be virtuous and to take accountability for their actions and how their actions have implication.
Like be a good man.
Be a good man, right? I think that's why I'm starting with the Latin phrase, because estovir, if you were to break it down, it means to be virtuous. Where sometimes colloquially we use it as be a man, man up, don't cry,
right,
or
that kind of
or how many ladies are you smooch? It's if you were really to look at the etymological root of the word, to be upright, to be virtuous.
So this thing, you find it connects with that, kind of be a...
Well, I'm curious. I mean, as I'm watching it, when I don't know if that's my own bias watching it, of this invitation to being more accountable for our actions. Now, is it only men? And then I think there's also questions around gender fluidity and who identifies as a man, and who's being portrayed in that video. I think it's hard if we make things so binary sometimes. You know? So
let me take a step back.
Yeah.
You dove in pretty deep, which is good. That's why we have Lindsay on the show. What was your reaction? Were you like, yes, no? Were you like, oh man, there's all kinds of stuff.
Well, I think my reaction was this right away. I was like, what could I salvage in the advertisement? That's where I went.
Salvage?
That was my reaction. Mm-hmm.
Did you not like most of it?
I mean, I'm
sure there's no right or wrong.
There's no, I agree. I think advertisements in general, Gillette, who's shaving corporate capitalism, who are the consumers. So I mean, that's how how I reacted.
So let's
all
hear
that kind of
let's hear
goes.
some more of that.
Well, I think what was the impact that people
because
yeah.
I mean, let's put this in context, because this kind of messaging happens, and it matters,
Right.
and people receive it and have their own reactions, and it does go through a kind of corporate mass marketing filter to try to get to people, and I think a lot of the mass of people are touched and affected by for good, positive, negative ways. So just your reaction that you have that filter when you're watching it, I'm curious how you reacted to it. Positive, negative. Did you like the message? Were you like, no? Were you like, nah, this is to sell crap, or
No, I mean, I think I appreciate how it's evocative. It's evoking, it's making people, emotionally making people feel a certain way. How is it making me feel? I mean, I'm not impacted on an emotional level by ads. That's just not, I mean.
You're kind of like, you're an ad.
Well, I just go to a place of being philosophical about it and critical about it, and not a negative way, just in I mean, my response was what I shared, which is it brings me to a place of what does it mean? What's the invitation of what it means to be a man? And I would broaden it to what does it mean to be fully human? I mean, what it says there at the end about to do more.
Yeah.
I would disagree. I mean, I think it's not about doing more. I think it's about being more. We're not human doers. We're human beings. And so I think there's some curiosity in like what are men, folks who identify as men, forced to perform? How are they forced to perform their masculinity? And so I think it's bringing up that question. I mean, this would be a great ad, like in the classroom, that I would unpackage for sure with students. And this is not, I mean, yeah. What did you think? What are your thoughts on it?
I liked it.
Say more. How come?
Because I really liked how they set up. I thought it was just part of me, we're here in this. Oh fuck, we didn't turn the light on. Now we got some lighting. Really sorry about that. Said that word too.
Yeah.
I really liked it because I think part of it, they took their old slogan, the best a man can get, which has been that for decades. And I thought it, for me, kind of connected with, hey, there is kind of this masculinity out there that they've probably been marketing to, with chicks in bikinis and so forth. And I thought they just tried to take, I thought they tried to take kind of a next step with it. Hey, maybe this was okay before, but it's not okay anymore. Be a better man. Because we want you to be your best here at Gillette, Yeah,
and like don't objectify women or don't.
Yeah, and that's what it means today in the context of Me Too and everything is, hey, collectively men, raise your game a little bit. And I found so my visceral response, and I agree with you, very evocative. Like I didn't like everything. I didn't like, I was like that, but the core thing of it, I was like, oh, I thought that was well done. I want to read to you. So to put this in context, when this came out in early January, a lot of kind of men's groups or whatever hated it and had a very strong reaction to it. And I want to read you a couple of things from that. Give me just a second to pull this up. Because I found the message to be decent, but a lot of people hated the message and like, we need to boycott Gillette. Like and I'm going to show you a video an alternate video made by a guy who was like, I just don't think this is the right message. I'm going to do a different one about what I think masculinity should be. So that was a commentary. So, but here are the things. And so I got into it and I was like, I'm going to write about this. And I started looking things up and I was like, gosh, there's so many men that just really did not like this commercial. I think they need a little bit of a voice. And I want to put that into this conversation, not because it's different from mine. I want to appreciate it. Okay. They're trying to make parents suppress this. So I got these quotes from Joe Rogan's podcast, comments on Joe Rogan's podcast because he discussed it. So he's got a pretty manly crowd. They're trying to make parents suppress a young boy's instinctual masculine traits and turn them into men that will cry at the end of watching Titanic on the 5th viewing. This is nothing more than radical feminist ideology wrapped in the once pure Me Too movement. They've hijacked and mutated the Me Too movement. It's going to get worse.
Whoa.
Challenging men to be better is fine, but as soon as they use the Me Too movement as some sort of awakening for men, I'm never buying another Gillette product.
Well, of course it ought to be an awakening for men and women and all humans, the Me Too movement. I mean, interesting. Wow. Okay.
There's some strong.
Wow.
This is a dipstick.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is some pretty strong reactions. How about we force all men to register as sex offenders? I've spent my entire life trying to respect others, and now I'm being accused of doing things I haven't done simply because I'm a man. This is from this commercial that this is tapping into this. Could you imagine Could you imagine a tampon commercial telling girls not to grow up to be materialistic, gossiping gold diggers? Telling girls not to grow up to be materialistic, gossiping gold diggers? Can't wait to see the best a woman can be ad montage, highlighting all the shitty things women are capable of.
Oh, mercy. Well, now all of that is, I find incredibly disturbing. That
Anger.
Well, and just to,
Yeah, what do you think about it?
I think I think it's important for whoever we are or however we are and we navigate the world to be aware of the privileges we have. And we don't need to feel guilty about the privileges we have, whether it's white male privilege, whether it's being born in a zip code that was fabulous, having two college-educated parents, both, I don't think we need to feel guilty about that, but I think to be cognizant of our privileges, and then with that help to make the world a better, brighter, more noble, more interconnected place. And so when I hear some of those reactions that taking it so personal, instead of being able to see the structural injustice that's at work when it comes, Me Too emerged in a very organic grassroots way to a systemic injustice that folks are aware of. That's, and so I think it would be important. I would encourage all those gentlemen, I imagine were they all gentlemen, to depersonalize I
don't know who they were.
To depersonalize and to see what, the issue that is at hand when it comes to men exploiting women.
I think there is a big picture issue. The core of Me Too, which is a very real, important, and it was the beginning of this conversation. I don't disagree with you in any of that. Some of the reaction of this, I understand. So part of the reaction is not, hey, all the Me Too behaviors they're bullshit. That needs to stop. It's been incredibly hurtful, and there is male privilege. It's a thing. Men would be evolved to listen and
just situate themselves in that truth. It's not, one doesn't have to feel guilty about it.
That's hard. That's hard to, what do you mean not feel guilty about it?
Well, I think
because I think that's a reaction that happens.
I concur.
It's like,
So how to situate ourselves with our privileges that we have, be aware of them, and I think the next step is then just to be in some acceptance, saying, I'll use myself an example, the zip code that I was born into. When I was aware of 66212, that when I was aware of, wow, what are going to be the implications of me being born in that zip? Like, I went to a great school, we had great healthcare, safe neighborhood. I had my own little desk that I could study at. There were just lots of implications because of that. And had I been born in another zip code, my things, those day-to-day things, healthcare,
or another country.
So when I was aware of it, then I think the next step is acceptance and saying, okay, I'm going to accept that there's some
advantages.
Wow, yeah, and lucky me. Like,
and
what
do you
a
feel
gift.
bad about that? Like, I think that in that moment, these things happen so fast. Like, I think a common reaction is, And I feel bad given not everybody has these advantages.
And so that's why I think it would behoove us if we could go from a place of acceptance, from awareness to acceptance, and then into action. Like what's the next right action given? And I think it's like if you were to draw like a little triangle, I think it keeps going. You know, it's not linear. That because the more you have acceptance of it, then you start to be aware of another aspect of your life, and then it's like, okay, well, what is the next right action here for me? So some of these gentlemen, if they could maybe be aware and accept some of their male privilege, then maybe for them the next right action is, okay, what can I do in my community or with my colleagues or with my female peers to be a respectable, noble, dignified man, right?
I think that's I think that's an appropriate, I would call that an evolved male response to this. But and I think that was part of why I just was like, oh, I am aspiring. I don't want to say I'm evolved or I'm the whatever, but I do want to understand and kind of validate some of the objection. Some of it, there is guilt about feeling privileged and acknowledging this, and that may be part of it. But I think there's also, you know, like the point of feeling like it's not fair that there's advertising targeting this. Like, would there ever be a similar commercial for women? No, there wouldn't. Is that
sure?
fair?
There's lots of commercials
like
for
what?
women. I mean, so many
in the same way.
Oh, well, there's so many commercials though for women that what it says to the consumer, to the audience, is to do those things.
You mean
to be
about
materialistic and to be a consumer, full stop, and to be.
But in this with the same message of be better women. Today.
Yeah, I mean, there's something
like what?
called.
Give me an example.
I refer you, and you can put it in the link to the misrepresentation project. That it's called misrepresentation. How clever! Like misrepresent,
MISS,
right?
Yeah.
And the work they've done to unpackage what advertisements specifically are doing and saying to young women. Yeah.
Buy this, be this.
Yeah,
be this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then
and
then after they came out with the mask you live in for to speak to masculinity, like the mask you live in, MASK. But speaking, so I mean, I would refer to that. But advertisements have been, since the beginning of the Mad Men era, have been preying, on our perhaps the lower part of ourselves to just kind of have these guttural reactions to consume or to I mean, that's part of the industry, right?
I think
I want to be mindful of.
Oh, do you need to go?
No, just because last time we
can go for it. We're gonna do it. But I want to say I think the part of the thing that I want to do. This is a good conversation. I've learned a lot already. Part of what I want to do is validate some of a male response to that commercial, and men feel like some of the message, I think, is that men are bad. That we get, that is viscerally heard from that. I don't think that's the intention. I think there are some out there that is part of the message. And I think that's part, and I think and then the other thing is just fairness, which is good because you're like, you want to talk about fair? Let's talk about the rest of the commercials that are bombarding women. So it's like, right. It's like, okay, that's a good point. We don't deal with that in the same way. Right. Do you need to go?
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna watch the.
Can you watch this other one? Can you watch this other one?
I can't. I don't want to say. I want to say too that the guilt. Rather, I don't. I do want to say that guilt is a part of it. I think that guilt's a part of the emotion that kicks up, and then little by slowly one can get to a place of acceptance. I think it is one factor, but there's all
I think that's really helpful for people to hear.
Yeah, you don't have to live there.
I think that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy.
Let's watch it. I got it.
You gotta go.
Got it.
Okay.
No, let's watch it. Yeah, good.
This is a counter. Another guy made after watching the Gillette one, made this commercial. And these links are on my website. You can find them to watch these commercials.
Okay.
Is a man a hero? Is a man a protector? Is a man vulnerable? Is a man disposable? Is a man broken? Is a man trying? We see the good in men.
That's it.
Yeah, so I mean much more profound, that strikes me as a much more profound, heart-centered, holistic approach.
You like this one better?
I like that one better. Meaning, yeah, I guess I'm going to qualify it. Yes, because I think how it's highlighting the questions about vulnerability and protector. Like there are some of, like highlighting what it's like the positive of the, you know, looking for the medicine of the wound that's current right now in the world when it comes to the Me Too movement. Whereas the first one's, it's a both and. There's a time and a place to focus on the wound, but my orientation toward the world is to focus more on the medicine. And so that one speaks to more like unpack, like if I were to teach tomorrow, I would
unpack it for us.
I would go,
Yeah.
I would start with this one though, because this one.
Oh, you would show this one first.
I would this one, and I don't even know if I'd show the other one. Yeah, that's my, because of there's a breadth and a fullness to who or how folks who identify as men can be. Yeah, I'm saying that because the gender fluidity, it's another part of being, I think, culturally proficient. I mean, full disclosure, I identify as a cis woman, you know, who the way I was born into this body feels good and holy and true. I want to be aware of people. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Good. Oh.
I liked this. I liked both of them.
It was a both and, yeah. Both are important to be exploring. Grateful, respect, Dr. Larry.
Thanks for being
on
here.
breaking open this conversation. Oh,
that was pretty good.
Yeah, we should
That's
go
pretty
live
good.
with
The wheels are turning. I kind of, I'm a little, I want to watch it and see what we did. Listen to your thoughts again. It was provoking. Great. I forgot you had taught and had unpacked these things, and what a great value for you guys. Okay, so you can check her out at www.omniasancta.org.
Yeah.
She does healing work. Check it out, Ancestral Healing. It'll be on the link here. She's got some presence on the internet. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go to my website where I have an article on this stuff, and you can sign up to get some weekly emails if you like. But thanks for coming to Dr. Larry Live Weekly, and we will see you next time. I was waiting for you to finish that.
Next time.